Hi everybody, my name is Lauren Douglas. I'm the SVP of Marketing at Channel Factory, and I'm joined today by my friend and the CEO of ReachTV, Lynnwood Bibbens. So thanks so much for joining me. I really am jazzed to be here.
I'm psyched that I'm in South by Southwest
Me too.
and that I'm here.
I know,
So,
and we're in person.
Kind of shocking.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
First event in 2 years.
I think people are excited. For me, it's been like a couple events, but most recently I was at the airport conference, and
cool.
Same type of energy.
Yeah.
Everybody's just excited to be
I
around people,
love it.
together.
Human beings, connection, conversation.
Going through what everybody went through from our business, from the people that have a business that matters, or people are actually in their locations. It was a tough couple of years.
Totally.
I think we've all came up with a mantra of survive, and now let's thrive.
Let's do it. I love it. I love it.
That was the mantra I kicked off the conference, so that was
cool.
The theme I came up with, and let's keep it going.
Yeah, I love
Survive
it. Now it's thriving, baby. Well, tell me a little bit about Reach. Like, what is Reach TV? What do you guys do?
Reach TV, funny part is, came from a concept of me being in digital for years.
Cool.
And so the idea was sitting at JFK Terminal 4, looking at the screen saying, why can't someone program that screen for me?
Totally.
And I went on this journey to ask people why that can't happen, and I got a million reasons why, and not any reasons of, okay, I can do it. So I just said, there's the opportunity.
Yeah.
And then when I said that screen, then I wanted that location, and then I wanted that terminal, then I wanted that airport, and that journey led me to launch Reach in April 16.
Okay.
But what the first thing we did was I invested my own money, and I wanted to build our tech stack.
Okay.
And I wanted to be able to build it where we can very much digitally, where you can be cloud-based and you can deliver down to every screen. Yeah. And program down to the screen in real time.
That's awesome.
So we took 9 months to build. It was a lot of back and forth.
Yep.
And we got our first big partner, and that was we launched in January of 17 in 3 airports.
Awesome.
And fast forward to today, we're in 90.
Oh wow.
In U.S., Canada, we are Q2, Q3 of this year. I'm going into London, Paris.
Yes.
Germany, Australia, India.
I love it.
And Africa was happening now. We're installing.
Cool.
So the network is growing, obviously, and that's been great. But the idea was we're a streaming television network that knows where it is.
Totally.
And
and do you guys you program content, right?
All day.
Okay.
We produce.
Yep.
We program.
Yeah.
We co-produce.
Yep.
We license.
Okay.
We do it all.
So you're curating and creating simultaneously.
Yeah. So a lot of times we produce a lot of content, localized content. Because it's more, it matches you where you are.
Yeah.
We have a term. How do you airport? Right.
Okay.
And so when we look at we turn that into a verb.
Yeah.
It's like, I live in the West Side Highway, so Newark is a very natural thing for me to go to.
Yep.
And I have a rhythm. I go in, I do the same type of things. I didn't realize how much a creature of habit I am, but I do.
Totally, yeah.
And when you're programming for me, you have to really focus on certain things I like, right? And so the people that do that, so we really have a lot of data. Yeah. Very much like digital.
Okay.
We're super data.
Yeah.
We have over 300 million anonymous devices.
Wow.
We have a partnership where we do 13 different airline first-party data.
Oh, cool.
We're getting that from the minute you go to book, and we're getting that information, and
cool.
It's all anonymous, but it allows us to build and understand how to program
and curate the content, and then create the right content for
100%.
For people watching.
What are we going to spend money on?
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
So we have a big partnership with NBC.
Cool.
And they got more money than me, so let them deal with the daily producing content that is very costly.
Yeah, totally.
And in my mind, I call it the throwaway content.
Yep.
Use that data, it's not worth anything. We want to invest in stuff that we can make that's evergreen or very topical or so forth.
Cool. I love it.
Yeah. So.
And what's the most popular content in an airport? What do people like to watch the most?
Depends on the airport.
Okay.
So we have different things in different airports, but I think our overall theme is what really has resonated, and which is truth and positivity.
Okay.
I noticed when I was in the airport, I saw this person killed, and this is going on, and that was the other reason I knew there was an opportunity.
Yes.
Is because I know the TVs didn't know where they were, so they couldn't stop that programming.
Totally.
And CNN, Fox, whatever, they're still you know, they were polarizing. And when you're traveling, there's one thing that's common. There's stress.
Yes.
And so
totally. Let's not add to it.
Our whole goal was,
oh my gosh, that makes total sense.
Lean back versus lean forward.
Yeah.
Because you have your phone for the lean forward.
Totally.
So we were programming lean back.
Cool.
And with a theme of truth and positivity.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's your most popular show?
The one we produced, one that we co-produced, which is really popular, is Where Hollywood Eats. We did that with Hollywood Reporter.
Cool.
And we did a bunch of different cities, and we went into the restaurants. It was really cool. The funny part on that production, we originally had a host, and then we did it without a host. Mm-hmm. And without a host, we made the chefs and the owners like the stars.
Yeah.
And it was amazing how, you know, it felt intimate.
Yeah.
So that one is a really popular one.
Cool.
We have live programming, so we do like live Squawk Box in the morning from NBC.
Yep.
And then of course the most popular, most watched this year was the NFL games.
Okay.
So we had NFL Thursday night, Sunday 1 o'clock, Sunday 4 o'clock, Sunday night, Monday night, playoffs, and Super Bowl.
Wow.
We're the only network that had all those games.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that was obviously our number one viewed
really
show.
Cool. Yeah.
You know, if you took one show.
Yeah, because I guess when you're in the airport and it's Thursday night, you're like, well, I might as well watch this game.
Even funnier, we had airports call me that said, we've never seen this coordination because the playoffs were going on, and they were like, we can board now, or everybody can board really orderly, and we can give you another 20 minutes to watch the game. and so you saw that in multiple airports. I got airport directors calling me going, I've never seen this. This is amazing.
Really? So, that's crazy. I love that.
I mean, it's a testament to how great the NFL playoffs were this year.
Yeah. Oh, it really was.
Yeah, great.
Okay, so I'm going to pivot us a little bit. You obviously are selling ads on Reach.
100%.
And working with the large holdcos, agencies, and biggest brands, I assume.
Yes.
I know earlier this year you kind of called out the industry and said that they needed to do better when it came to diversity. So do you mind talking a little bit about that?
Yeah, I have no problem talking about it. I think that there's certain people that are giving it lip service, and I think other people that are doing a great job. Mm-hmm. I have really good friends who are very honest, and before this even was going on, I got to give some credit to PK, Philip Krakowski from IPG, who, you know, we've known each other, but, you know, during this entire social unrest and other things, I wrote a letter that ended up going ridiculously shared by all over the place, and next thing you know, I'm doing an article in Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
Because.
And what was the content of the article? What were you talking about?
Just my life and what things that have happened to me, because what I noticed was, you know, I wear a suit and people know me, and they were acting like I wasn't black.
Okay.
So it was like that. I can't believe that happens to them, and I was like, it's an odd statement to me.
Sure.
Right? So I wanted to write it to make it like it happens to all black people. It's
not
just
absolutely
people you think of. Yeah. Right. And that led to a conversation, an honest conversation with him about what is going on and why am I not getting business from him.
Yeah.
So, you know, one was I wasn't asking for the right things. And then two, there was a process that was kind of broken in the agency world where we would present, you know, a black-owned media company presents an idea to the agency, they present it to the brand, and the brand says no, and then next you're 3 months in, and now you go back to present another thing, and that's 6 months in, and then you go back for the third, and the year's over.
Right.
Right? You can't eat air, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can't pay yourself on air. And I think by IPG bringing the upfronts bringing black-owned media to the front, into the upfronts, is a game changer because the brands are in the room, and they get to understand what you're trying to do, and that's a game changer.
And then they're making commitments up front rather than it taking a year.
You know, I think, and that sentence, the upfront, is probably something that needs to be explored more. The sentence, why upfronts are so important to small businesses, black-owned businesses, diverse-owned businesses, is because you have a chance to have predictable revenue.
Yep.
The reason that the NBCs and the big companies of the world win is they can predict their revenue for the next 12 months, 18 months.
Totally.
That is as an entrepreneur, we never have that, right? So to have that type of predictability is a game changer. It allows me to invest in original content, in series, in people, in jobs, you know? So those are the things that I highlighted when I was calling people out in the upfronts is that you can't tell me you can't buy enough impressions. And my point was, then invest. Right? So there was I don't know where these percentages come from, I really don't care. I'm presuming one is about population when they say black people make up 14%, whatever the number is. it's irrelevant to me because what I look at is what is pop culture? Because pop culture drives global GDP.
Absolutely.
Right? So then when I peel back what pop culture is, it's usually dominated and led by Black culture.
Absolutely.
So I'll give you a perfect example.
Yeah.
TikTok. You looked at TikTok and you look at the most popular things on TikTok, or these influencers that have more money and have everything, but they were getting their dances and their moves from these Black creators.
From Black females mostly.
And to the point where they went on with Jimmy Fallon and one of them.
Absolutely.
And then he had to bring the other creators back on.
Totally.
But I didn't look at it as a negative. I looked at it as, look at the workflow.
Yeah.
Look at it as a workflow and say, this is where the culture
creation is happening.
Where the creation is. This is making it popular so you can capture it.
Totally.
And this over here is where you can make revenue. So if I'm a brand, invest here and ride the wave all the way through. And that was what I was trying to resonate with people, that even if these companies don't have the impressions you need, help them invest in creating content.
Do you have faith in the advertising industrial ecosystem that it's going to get better and Black-owned businesses are going to be more supported and more invested?
No, I think I have faith in humanity, not so much advertising. I know people, right? So I have a CEO level, like Talia is a good friend. I don't look at her as CEO of PMX, I look at her as Talia as my friend. When I talk to Danny or talk to Kathy or I talk to Kirk, I've known Kirk since '96 from Group M. I mean, we've known each other a long time. So I just think that there's more empathy, and we're all trying to figure this out and they're trying to figure it out. I think there's just more of us have to come up with the things that are needed. And we have to stop trying to say we're going to do something we know we can't do. I'll give it a perfect example. One of the things that was said in the upfronts last year was that we weren't going to worry that much about measurements and yada, yada, yada. Now, everything we do is measured, but I knew that wasn't going to be the case. And so what I kept saying was, I don't know why you're saying that. Right? So let's go the other way and say, how do we help everyone get measured? Versus saying you're not going to measure. Right? So we are working on that. I'll be talking about this more and more, but I'm looking at 300 million devices, mobile and mobile devices that we have. We are looking at the ecosystem of where those devices go. And when I think about that, I can help other people because there's a journey. So I can say digital, I can say retail, where they're going, and create a data set that can be shared. We call it location intelligence, that we can share back to people. So I'm willing to invest my own money to help it create a standard.
I love it.
That works for everyone.
That's cool. Do you mind if we pivot to leadership?
Of course.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously you've talked a lot about like Black-owned businesses, diverse-owned businesses. Like, how do you think leaders today are doing when it comes to diversifying their businesses, whether it's internally or whether it's the investments that they're making?
I think the easiest way or the most blunt way to say this is, I think you got to stop looking at filling a quota and start figuring out how to build a culture. So, I built a culture that was natural to me, which was I have 4 sisters, I grew up with strong women, so naturally my EVP and CEO is a woman, my Senior Vice President of Business Development is a woman, my VP of the Business Development is a woman, my Head of Marketing is a woman, and one is Indian Black, right? It's just natural for me when I see somebody who can fill the role. Never knew that there wasn't that many people in business development that were women. I had no idea. I don't look at people like that. And as an entrepreneur, you look for people that are really good, and you don't give a damn. Who can do your job. I look at building a culture. If you want to understand how to build it, play sports. Sports is who's the best, right? And you build a team around who can get the job done. I think a lot of leaders now are checking a box, and that's not sustainable. You got to have a long-term thing that is sustainable.
You need to find the right people and make sure that you're looking for diverse people as well.
And do yourself a favor. Look at your website. And look at your leaders. Look at your team. I say this jokingly, but I was on with a friend of mine who was telling me how he's going after this business, and I said, I'm on your website right now. I've already paged down 3 pages. I see nothing but all white males. I'm not sure if you understand the world you're in right now. You don't know any women. Well,
what's your advice to somebody in that scenario?
They're probably in your company. They're just not being promoted.
They're
not letting their voice being heard. And don't stick them in jobs that they don't have support. Don't make them a head of diversity. so it can have a job.
My least favorite thing is when there's a whole, a whole group of white men, and then there's the head of HR and the head of diversity happen to be either people of color or women, and you're just like, well.
And then, if you're going to do that, then support them.
Sure.
But then you find out there's one person on the team, and that's the first thing that's getting cut.
Totally. Oh, man. Have you ever gotten any amazing leadership advice that you would want to pass on to other people, or that you do pass on to other people?
Yeah, I always say be honest.
Yeah.
For some of I get leadership from everybody. It doesn't matter. I remember this guy who's running a park and recreation I grew up with. There was an energy about him that I watched how other people looked at him.
Okay.
And I always thought, wow, that's pretty impressive. And when I asked him, to him it was just him.
Yeah.
And I said, that's it. So sometimes just being you.
Right.
And that will be contagious enough.
Yeah.
And letting people have their own voice. It's one of the things that I focus on a lot as running a company is making sure everybody has their own voice. And sometimes you want to jump in, but I don't mind people having failures.
Yeah.
Or we have a little mistakes.
Yep.
I think you have to let people grow and not micromanage them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give them a job, let them do it. And,
Yeah.
And we can talk about how we can do it better.
Yeah.
But
we had somebody on earlier, they were talking about don't be afraid to fuck up.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't care.
Yeah. Totally.
There's I tell people every day there's a failure, every single day, and there's wins.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah.
And when people ask me how are you doing?
Yeah.
Every day. And my people in my company are tired of hearing this, but every single day they'll hear somebody say, "Hey, Wood, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm great."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Do you ever say anything else?" I'm like, "No, because I'm breathing."
I'm actually great.
No,
Yeah.
I'm great.
Yeah.
So my standard for being great is I'm breathing.
Sure.
Because if I'm not breathing, it really doesn't matter, right? I got that from my grandfather. So
I love that.
We used to try to complain. He'd be like, are you
breathing?
Yeah, and I'm like, yes. I was brought up with that instilled in me. It was
Very cool.
Really hard to be a negative person when you have that every day.
Totally. I'll ask you one last question to close this out.
Perfect.
If you could give your younger self, your 22-year-old Lynnwood self, a piece of advice, what would you tell him?
Same advice I'd say to my 24-year-old son now.
Yeah.
This too shall pass. So nothing is really that serious. And no matter how high you get, this too shall pass. No matter how low you get,
right.
This too shall pass.
Yep.
So learn to take
ride the waves
and enjoy every part of it.
Yeah.
And I always tell myself, and I tell my son this all the time, embrace all of it. I enjoy the struggle as much as I enjoy the journey.
It's the
all
journey.
the way.
Yeah, totally.
Good, bad, and indifferent.
Yeah. Well, that's life, right? It's
yeah.
always going to be riding the waves ups and downs.
But when you're younger, you take everything so much more, and
totally.
you do this and you do that.
Totally.
I think I could have enjoyed my journey a little bit more, but I was so looking at the end point and wasn't looking at this part.
Yeah, absolutely. As you got there.
Yeah. But if you start to enjoy that, you'll see beauty and I like this thing from Kobe. If you look at I'm always doing Mamba mentality.
Mamba mentality.
Yeah. But one of the things that he said that was probably one of the most profound things was when he sees a scar on his ankle and his Achilles, he sees beauty in that.
Yeah.
Because he sees the entire journey every time he sees that scar.
Yeah.
I think that's what people need to understand.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with me. I really appreciate it.
No,
and thanks to all of you. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more content from us and from Brand Innovators. Thanks so much.